Welcome to Tale Virtue, where every story touches the heart and inspires the soul. Join us on a journey of wisdom, kindness, and timeless life lessons, because one story can change everything.
In a small town surrounded by golden fields and distant hills, lived a young man named Ethan Carter. He was 18, full of energy, and had dreams bigger than the sky. Ethan came from a humble background. His father, Robert Carter, worked long hours at a mechanic shop, and his mother, Grace Carter, sewed clothes for neighbors to help support the family. Ethan wasn't born into wealth, but he was born with something far more powerful: determination. Ever since he was a child, he dreamed of becoming an engineer, of building something that would make life easier for people. He wanted to lift his parents from poverty and make them proud. But dreams, as everyone knows, come with a price, and Ethan was about to learn that the road to success demands sacrifice. After finishing school, Ethan got accepted into one of the best engineering colleges in the city. It was a moment of pure joy, until the reality of tuition fees hit him like a storm. Robert and Grace tried everything. They sold old furniture, borrowed money from relatives, even skipped meals, but it wasn't enough. Ethan saw the tiredness in his father's eyes, the quiet pain in his mother's smile. That night, as he sat under the flickering light of their old lamp, Ethan made a decision that would change everything. He said softly to himself, "If success demands sacrifice, then I'll give it everything I have." He decided to move to the city alone and take a part-time job to pay for his studies. His parents hesitated, but his determination left no room for doubt. The city was loud, fast, and merciless. Ethan rented a small, damp room that smelled of old wood. He started working at a cafe during the day and attended classes in the evening. He barely slept. His nights were studying, and his mornings began before dawn. He couldn't afford proper meals, so he often ate bread and tea. His shoes had holes and his clothes faded with time, but his spirit, that burning fire inside him, never dimmed. His classmates, mostly from wealthy families, often laughed at his worn-out clothes or simple lunch. One of them said, "Liam," mockingly, "you think you can compete with us? You don't even have a laptop." Ethan smiled quietly and replied, "I may not have what you have now, but I will earn it. And when I do, I'll value it more than you ever could." One evening, while Ethan was cleaning tables at the cafe, an old man entered, calm, dignified, and carrying an air of wisdom. His name was Mr. Thomas Gray, a retired engineer who often visited the cafe. He noticed Ethan studying engineering books while working and asked, "Why do you study while working so hard?" Ethan looked up, smiled, and replied, "Because one day I want to design something that changes lives, and I don't want my dreams to die because I was afraid of struggle." Mr. Gray was impressed. He began guiding Ethan, teaching him things that weren't in books about innovation, leadership, and perseverance. He often said, "Success without sacrifice is like a tree without roots. It may look tall, but it won't last." Those words stayed with Ethan forever. Years passed, and the journey only grew harder. Ethan's part-time job wasn't enough to cover all his expenses. Sometimes he had to skip meals to save money for project materials. One winter night, as rain poured outside, Ethan returned home exhausted. His body ached, his head burned with fever, but he still opened his books. He whispered, "I can't stop now. Not when I'm this close." Suddenly, he fainted. The next morning, his neighbors found him unconscious and rushed him to the hospital. When he woke up, he saw his parents sitting beside him, tears in their eyes. Grace held his hand tightly and said, "Ethan, we don't want you to lose yourself for success." Ethan replied weakly, "Mom, I'm not losing myself. I'm finding who I'm meant to be." That moment showed how deep his commitment truly was. After recovering, Ethan went back to college stronger than before. He began working on a final year project, a low-cost water purification device for rural areas. He spent sleepless nights testing, designing, and failing again and again. Each failure was painful, but each one brought him closer to success. Mr. Gray often visited, reminding him, every failure is a sacrifice that brings you nearer to victory. Finally, after months of hard work, Ethan perfected the prototype. It could purify water using natural filters, cheap, portable, and effective. He presented it at the National Engineering Exhibition. When he demonstrated it, the judges and audience were stunned. His invention had the power to save thousands of lives. He won first prize and a scholarship from a major company that wanted to fund his design for real-world use. Years later, Ethan Carter became a successful engineer and entrepreneur. His inventions spread across rural communities, giving clean water to families who never had access before. He built his own company called Pure Life Innovations and created jobs for many people. The same boy who once cleaned tables was now being invited to universities to inspire others. One day, while giving a speech, Ethan looked at the audience and said, "People see my success, but they don't see the sacrifices behind it. They don't see the nights I went hungry, the tears my parents shed, or the failures that broke me. But I learned that every sacrifice you make for your dream becomes a brick in the foundation of your success. Don't fear struggle, embrace it, because one day your sacrifices will tell your story." The crowd erupted in applause. Many had tears in their eyes, inspired by the journey of a boy who never gave up. Years later, Ethan returned to his old town. The same streets that once echoed with his dreams now echoed with his success. He visited his parents' home, now rebuilt and beautiful. Robert and Grace stood proudly at the door. Robert's eyes glistened with pride. "You did it, son." Ethan hugged them both and said, "No, we did it. Your sacrifices were my strength." He then went to the local school and donated computers and books for the children, telling them, "Dream big and don't be afraid to sacrifice for it, because success isn't given, it's earned through sacrifice, faith, and perseverance." Moral of the story: success demands sacrifices of comfort, time, and sometimes even relationships. But every sacrifice made with purpose becomes a step closer to greatness. Never give up even when the world doubts you, because true success isn't given, it's earned through sacrifice, faith, and perseverance.